Lighting up the way, Valley Electric Association.
Well, I'm very delighted to say that the jury found him, Mr. Engleson, guilty of first-degree murder. They deliberated for about 2 hours. This was a big deal. This was a 3-year-old girl who was beaten so badly from head to toe. And I felt that it was such a bad crime and kind of diminished our entire community that could even happen here, that as the elected DA that I should be involved. And so I prosecuted the case together with my chief deputy, and we put on 33 witnesses, hundreds of exhibits, and I'm very proud to say that we got the best resolution that was available, which was the first-degree murder conviction. And I was able to speak to the victims, one of her relatives yesterday, and they are all greatly relieved. You can kind of see the difference. They have a little bit of closure now, and so I'm very pleased with the performance of everyone on the team, myself included, and to get some justice for that little girl. I can't imagine what her family must feel like. It was devastating to us, and we never met her. I felt that, to reflect the values of this community, we weren't going to let this one go, and we were going to go after a fitting punishment, and that's what we've done. And again, I'm just very proud of everyone on my team, and I would like to say as well that the first responders, they had a impossible task, but they really went beyond. So did the ER people. The ER doctor testified at the trial. This was so bad, there were nurses crying, and it was just really, tough, but they did a great job, and I'm proud of them as well. Back in December of 2018, which was the month before I took office, he had reached a deal where he would plead to second-degree murder, and that would have involved presumably a shorter sentence and parole eligibility. When he would have gotten out, not sure. Maybe he never gets out, but it would have certainly been an option. For whatever reason, he declined to follow through on that deal, and we went to trial. And I'm not sure that that's a deal I would have made if I had been in that position when it was done. But in hindsight, it was tough to pull it off, but we did, and so I'm very happy, because I think first-degree murder is the only thing that even comes close to describing what went on here. And I should point out that in Nevada, it's first-degree murder if you commit a murder during the course of the commission of child abuse. So all we had to prove was that he killed her while he was committing child abuse. We didn't have to prove premeditation or deliberation or anything else, and I think that's a good thing to have in the law. And so that's what we did. The main thing was she had a skull fracture, the occipital bone, which is in the back of the skull. It's actually the hardest bone in the head. And the fact that it was fractured speaks volumes, because a child's bones are not as brittle. They get brittle as you get older, obviously, and so they're actually harder to break when someone is that age. There were hemorrhages in the scalp and the skull. There were contusions and abrasions all over her face, bruises too. And basically it was enough that the medical examiner had to discuss them in terms of regions. The brain expert testified that there were multiple blunt force traumas to the head that were severe enough that she couldn't tell which one had ultimately been fatal. The hemorrhaging in her eyes, the eye expert testified that for those to have been accidental, it would have been something like if she had fallen out of a 6-story window all the way to the ground. And then bruising all over her body. There were some circular bruises. There were all kinds of bruises everywhere. Torso, legs, the whole thing. It was just horrible. It was the worst thing that I've ever seen. And we had the ER doctor, when he testified, said that the ER nurses were crying when they were treating her. The world is not always a pretty place, and this was about as ugly as it could possibly get. I got nothing else to say about Cole Engelson. I think the jury spoke for all of us.